Hi, thanks so much for staying with us at the Black Bear Cabin or the 500 Lynn Cove Road Cabin. Either way, wherever you're staying with us, north, south, east, or west, we are grateful for that. I'm just going to cover a few of the common questions that I get from time to time, and I'll send a staff person out, or I myself have been known to come out quite a bit. One of them is, hey Dave, the hot tub's not working. I don't see any lights, nothing at all. No, that's tell me what the screen says. Well, the screen's black, it's out. What we've found is most often over here, I'm in the garage right now, there's two big breaker panels here, and the one that's closest to the wall, not the garage, over here, it has a breaker cleverly marked hot tub. And so a lot of times, somehow or another, that breaker has just been turned off. So usually that turning it back on is the main thing you have to do. Now, you don't have to worry if there's power outages, because there's a whole house generator out outside that powers the house, and propane guided, and the propane heats one of the water tanks, hot water and that sort of thing. But nonetheless, if there's any other problem with the hot tub, let me know and I'll send somebody out, or I will come out myself. People sometimes ask, hey, how do I get the lights on? The lights aren't on going down the driveway. The pretty lights that are sort of the pole lights down the driveway, and they are tied to the rope lights that go all the way down to the two lower decks there near the Beaver Dam Creek, which is fun. Well, here is that switch. It's closest to the bears, and it's the smart switch that's closest to the garage door and to the bears. And if people ask, well, where's the light switch for just right outside the garage? Well, that's this one right under here, underneath the no smoking and underneath Christmas at Biltmore, the one that's closest to your garage door opener. So I hope that's helpful for you. There's some other questions that people ask that I'd be glad to answer, and I will attempt to do that next. Occasionally, one of the questions I'm asked is, how do I get the lower deck lights on down there so I can run the grill? There's grill tools in the cabinet, called the closet, coat closet, basically right to the left of the front door. There's grill tools there. Sometimes they're spread other places. Sometimes they're down there on a grill. We have extras. But nonetheless, here in the game room, where there's a ping pong table and a pool table, and there's a screen porch out here, and there's gas logs and that type thing. We're near the garage and the downstairs bedroom. And by the way, there is a sleeper sofa over there that pulls out, as well as one up in the living room that people like to use. But this is the one. It cleverly says lower deck pole lights. The upper light switch turns on the lower deck lights so that you can get down there and grill at night. And of course, this turns on just another porch light for you. In addition to that, there's a ceiling fan, and the ceiling fan has its own little control out here, or a little remote on the wall. We'll show you that in a second. Occasionally, one of the questions I'm asked is, how do we get more light out here in the screen porch area where the fire pit is? There's two screen porches, one below and one upper. They both have fire pits, and there's an extra button over here on the wall that controls the ceiling fan, whether you want the ceiling fan speed. There's a little wall socket where you can plug in a little extra, I guess you call them decorative or fun lights, party lights, whatever it is around here. And people do like hanging out here because typically you can hear Beaver Dam Creek trickling through, and you can see the lights down on the lower decks, and it's just a beautiful place to be. So we'd welcome you out here, and you'd have as much light or as little light as you want. We do a lot of variable lighting in the cabins and our vacation properties that you might be staying in, wherever they are. Thanks for asking that question. I will answer a few more questions next. Hey, it's Dave again. There's questions that come up from time to time. People ask me, hey, how do I get the porch lights on so we can see from the upper deck? It's this smart switch right here. If you'll text me or call me, I can turn them on remotely for you. But that way you can see to get in from the upper driveway down the steps a whole lot better. And of course, this light here simply turns on the front porch lights on either side of the door. If you want the kitchen table lights on, you just simply raise that up. These are for floodlights. If you want to see how to get down to the hot tub, there's that one over there that it's now on, and you can see to get the hot tub if you want to see to get down the stairs dark at night to get down to where the garage is, to the lower level, then that one does it. And these are related to three-way switches elsewhere in the place. That's why they're not always perfectly neatly up or down. There have been some who've asked me, hey, why is the living room light not working in the ceiling fan? There is a variable switch that gives you light or less light over there near the stairs, but there's also a light here that turns it on, and then voila, it's on. So make sure you check both. There have been people before say, we can't get the lights in the kitchen to work, and we've turned it on. Well, it's a lot of variable lighting here, so I don't know if you can see that behind me, but if you push this up, then you can get the lights to go as bright or as dim as you want. So there's that. There's another question I get asked over here from time to time. If it's okay, I'm going to walk over here. And it is, Dave, I can't get the sink lights to work. Okay, that's because they're on a variable. People have said, doesn't have the switch up and down. I said, well, then use that little variable switch right there, and you can bring as much light or as little light as you want. It's just a lot of variable lighting around here. Some folks like it soft light, some like it brighter. So hope that's helpful to you. There's just extra switches around, and you can run as many lights or as few lights as you'd like while you're here. Thanks for staying with us. Occasionally I'm asked, how do we get these gas logs on? I mean, I've tried this switch up and down and nothing's happening. And if you listen to that switch, that's a blower. It blows the warm air out. But nonetheless, there's supposed to be a little remote like this one, and it's cleverly marked on, off, mode, and set. Not sure what mode and set do, but the on button turns on the gas logs. The off button turns them off, and if you want to blow some of that heat out of there, then you switch that little switch on and you'll hear the blower blowing the air out. Now there's two leather couches right here in the living room. One of them is a recliner on two sides. It's actually got little electric motors in it and little switches to the side. If you want to recline, just pull the couch away from the wall a little bit so you can recline back. The one over here between the dining room and the kitchen is actually a sleeper sofa. You can pull that thing out, move this somewhere and pull it out, and however many of you want to sleep in the living room, you can. Occasionally, one of the questions I'm asked is, how do we get the light either to turn off or more light for the ceiling fan in the living room? And there's one over here, it says ceiling fan light, and there you can turn it up or down and it adjusts it to nothing or something. And there's actually an on-off switch as well. That is a three-way next to the front door. By the way, if you want the fan faster or slower, the switch is over here on this wall behind the recliner. And again, that leather couch is a recliner here, the other one's a sleeper sofa. Just kind of pointing out some of the switches. This says the track lights, and when I hit this, it's actually the kitchen lights. So if the kitchen lights aren't working all together, feel free to come over here and knock that one out as well. If you're going outside, there are people that have asked, well, how do we get more light or change the lighting on the screen porch upstairs off the living room? And how do we do that? Well, anyways, obviously there's a light here, so you just hit that switch and on goes the ceiling fan lights, so you have lights to get out there. Occasionally, one of the questions I'm asked is, how do we get the lighting to be lower or brighter or more or different on some of the screen porches? This is the upper screen porch. It also has a fire pit. It also has the ceiling fans. Watch your head if you're tall there. Nonetheless, one of the things you can do over here is these little lights that are along the ceiling. You can plug it in this little adapter there, and you've got the lights that kind of flow around all around. You see them a lot around Asheville and other places that give you some additional mood lighting and that sort of thing. And of course, here we have a lamp that you can turn off, on partial, on different colors, or all of it. But those are just some of the things to enhance your lighting. And there's a lot of people that like to sit out here and watch the Beaver Dam Creek and listen to it and see the lower decks and the lighting on them below. And it's just a wonderful, warm place to be. And if you want to get some exercise, you can always go to the elliptical, or you can go out this way to the hot tub. Occasionally I'm asked, hey, I can't seem to get the heat working in my room. What do we do? Or the cool working in my room, what do we do? Each of the rooms typically has a mini split unit up in the wall, up in towards the ceiling, and each of them has a little remote. So you have to push the on button, and that should illuminate and come up, and then there's a mode button. You push that mode button until you see something at mode cool, dry, heat, auto. You want the one to go heat if it's in the winter, or cool in the summer, and then you adjust the temperature that way. There's one remote in the 500 Lynn Cove Road cabin house that you actually have to see it, you slide a panel down, and then there's more buttons there where you might see the mode. So that's it. In the lower level bedroom, where there's a queen on the bottom and an extra long twin on the top, we call it the Bearsy threesome down here with its own little bathroom, there's also an electric fireplace, and it has its own controls. You turn it up or down with the temperature, and some people say, well, it's not working, it's giving me an E, like an error message. That usually just means it thinks it's going in the economy mode. All you have to do is touch the up or down heat button, and it will give you more heat if that's what you want in the winter, or all year round you can just enjoy the visual beauty of that, and you don't have to run the heat. one of the things that people do ask from time to time is, why is this thing down here? It keeps the temperature and the air and the room moving and circulating. We like to keep this running all year long. It's the dehumidifier. It also keeps some of the iron-rich water content aroma, which can be a little less pleasant. You're up on a mountain where you're on a well and a septic system, and it's very iron-rich water up here. You're real near the Blue Ridge Parkway. So we highly recommend that you keep this button on all the time. Brings a little bit of white noise, it helps you sleep a little bit better. And those that want to sleep on the sleeper sofa down here where the pool table, ping pong table are, just kind of move those things out, pull it out, and you can do that. But just remember to keep this on anytime you can, and you'll enjoy the air. It'll be fresher for you. Thanks so much for staying with us, and let us know how to make your stay more enjoyable.